Hello friends, it is Friday. So today I am going to bring you a soup recipe. I have been trying to do more cooking videos because cooking is like what I do majority of the day and it's also what I am passionate about. Many of you may not have known, I worked for several years cooking professionally in restaurants, and I quit to come back home to be with my kids and homeschool and all that kind of stuff. And I'm so thankful for my time in the restaurant industry. It really made me a better cook at home because I learned so much. And so for the entire month of October, we are doing a playlist called CrockTober / Fall Soup Friday. And every Friday, me and several of my friends are going to bring you recipes on this playlist that you can do throughout the week whenever you want. It'll either be a recipe in the crock pot, Instant Pot too, or a soup. Now, if you are a YouTuber and you want to get involved in this, comment down below and I will send you the link for the collaboration playlist and you can add your video on there. This is not just open to my group of friends, it is open to all YouTubers. I do just ask that you credit my channel when you film your video and send them over to the playlist so that they can get in not only on my videos, but also everybody else's videos who's in the collaboration. We have several great people who I love their recipes, and yeah, it's gonna be great. So today, I am actually making a soup in my Instant Pot. I normally make this soup in a crock pot, but my stew meat my chuck roast was frozen. We went and looked at a house yesterday out of town, and we were just out of town for a long time. And yes, I know what you're probably thinking. Why were you looking at a house, Amanda? You guys are in travel all the time. I'll talk about that at another time. We're kind of still working through things. I don't have much to update yet, so kind of ignore that detail. So we just had a really crazy day yesterday. We went and picked up this bed frame at Home Depot that we had ordered. We have not had a bed frame in almost 6 years, like since Lucas was a baby. We had this really ostentatious, crazy bed set before we were Christians. And when we became Christians, we were like, this bed set is ridiculous. And so we sold it, and our mattress has just been on the box spring on the floor ever since. It's never bothered us. It's just whatever. It's bothered Brackston apparently because my mom got this same bed frame for her guest room, and he saw that and he was like asking her how much it was, and he was like, I want to get that for you. He's like, I want to get you a bed put on a bed frame. He's like, I really want to do that. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm fine. Like, it doesn't bother me that the bed's on the floor or anything. It just, I don't care. It's just where I sleep. I would rather, be in the rest of the house anyways. So this matched both of our styles. It has metal, which I like, and it has the wood posts, which Brackston likes. And that was also another reason why it took us forever to get one, is just we just couldn't agree on a bed frame. And so we kind of were just like, whatever, we don't care. And there's more important things. It matches our bedside tables over there. Mine is always a mess. Hashtag always. And here's Brackston's. His is always nice and tidy. So we picked this up yesterday. Brackston put it together for me. Super thankful for that. So I was actually going to film this yesterday. Didn't happen. I came home. I made doctored up frozen pizzas. I made a pineapple upside down cake. All those kinds of things. And I was like, well, I'm going to film this tomorrow. So I didn't lay the chuck roast out. And just, yeah. So this is like the longest intro ever. So with that being said, I'm going to make this vegetable beef stew, which is my absolute favorite. And it's so easy. Normally I make this in the crock pot. Today I am making it in the Instant Pot because my roast is frozen. And I need to speed up the process. I usually always cook my chuck roast in my Instant Pot. I don't cook in my crock pot a lot because my husband is not a big fan of crock pot meals. He had like childhood, I don't want to call it trauma, but he just has like a lot of bad memories from childhood of like really overcooked gross food in the crock pot. And he just doesn't. He wouldn't eat pot roast when we got married. I had to like make a good pot roast before he would even eat it. Now he loves pot roast, but that took a couple years. So this recipe is so easy. It's a friend of mine gave me this recipe, and I really hope you enjoy it. So let's get to it. Okay, friends, so like I said, we're going to make this in the Instant Pot today. I have everything laid out here for the first step, which is going to be cooking my beef. Right now, I am finishing up making some beef broth from my Better Than bouillon. I'm going to stir this over the liner because it can get really messy, and you will see that. I'm putting this liquid in here so that the Instant Pot will come up to pressure, and I don't really usually do the liquid when I'm doing it in the crock pot, but it will still be part of the soup. So I'm breaking up those little pieces of the Better Than bouillon there because sometimes it can be hard to mix even with warm water. So yeah, I'm mixing that up. I'm going to open this frozen chuck roast. It is just half of a chuck roast. For a soup, that is more than plenty. Usually when I go to Costco, I will either keep them whole or I will cut one of them in half for moments like this where we don't need a ton of beef because we're gonna have veggies in there. So I'm just gonna put that straight in there. And then I'm going to start with adding some ketchup. And it's just regular ketchup. You can use whatever kind you like. And I'm just gonna douse the top of that roast in the ketchup. And it's not an exact measurement. I just cover the top of it. So then the next step is I'm going to add the rest of this bottle of barbecue sauce on top of the ketchup. Now I know this sounds really weird, but it makes the broth taste so good. So good. So after I get done with this barbecue sauce, I'm going to go in with some Worcestershire sauce. I know everybody jokes, how do you say this? I just add it'll probably be about 2 teaspoons there. I do a lot of, just eyeballing in the kitchen. It's kind of a bad habit. I'm gonna come in with minced onion. I really, really like minced onion, so I go pretty heavy on it. Do what you like in regards to that for flavor. Then next up, I'm gonna do a little bit of red pepper flakes just to give this a little bit of a kick, not too much because of my kiddos, but my husband and I do love a little bit of a kick in our food. Next up, I'm gonna do some Famous Dave's rib rub. I get this at Sam's Club. You can also get it at Walmart, but the big jug is at Sam's Club. Just sprinkling that on the top. The recipe calls for seasoned salt. This is what I use when I don't have seasoned salt. So I did about 1.5 tablespoons of that. Then next, I'm gonna come in with just salt and pepper. It looks like a full tablespoon, but it's actually around 1/2. Just sprinkling that on the top, and then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do the same thing with the pepper. Gonna put that in there, and we are done. And we're gonna be ready to go over to our Instant Pot and get everything started. Like I said, this is super easy. We're gonna cook this so we can shred it. So now we're over to the Instant Pot. We're gonna put our lid on, we're gonna seal it, and I'm gonna put this on manual for 70 minutes. Now this is not going to fully cook this roast. It is going to get it mostly cooked. I'm going to do more once I add the rest of the beef broth and veggies. So now that the beef was done, I went ahead and did a pressure release on this. Usually with beef, I let it have a non-pressure release. I'm trying to shred it to see if it is done and to kind of gauge how much longer I should let this beef cook. It is semi-shredding, but not entirely shredding. Do you see the color of the broth? That's from the ketchup and the beef, and that's gonna give it a really good flavor. This is not completely shredding, so I'm really probably just gonna end up leaving it alone and start adding everything else. And I'm only gonna cook it for another 20 minutes. That should be plenty. So After this, I am going to add 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I had one regular and one that had like basil and parsley. That's all I had on hand. It'll be fine. It's not going to affect the flavor. And then usually I do all frozen veggies. I do the green beans, the peas, the corn, and carrots. But I didn't have any frozen carrots. These were actually my last 3 bags of frozen vegetables. I've been trying to cook through things in my deep freezer here lately that are getting old, that I bought towards the beginning of the pandemic. And so I'm using these up, and then I just went ahead and cut up 4 regular carrots and added those to the soup. Now these are going to not get super mushy or anything like that. They'll keep their consistency better than canned vegetables, in my opinion. I'm going to put these all in here. I'm going to give this a quick stir to see just how much liquid I think that I need to use. That's the thing with soups, is you really need to just, you can follow a recipe exactly every time, but sometimes things are just different, and that's just the way food is. So I'm stirring all this up to see how much liquid I need, how much more bouillon I needed to add, and I'm going to start adding water. So you'll see me disappear to go to the sink, and this measuring cup that I'm using is actually 2 cups. So when you saw me do that beef broth earlier, it was 2 cups of beef broth in the Instant Pot when I cooked the beef. So in goes 2 cups of water. I'm gonna end up doing I think 3 more cups is what I did. I think I did 6 in total, so there's 4. And then this next one should be 1 cup. And this will be a nice big pot of soup. Yep, 5 cups of water I added on top of that 2 cups that I started with, and it actually yielded a little more liquid when I cooked the beef. So the beef isn't perfectly shredded, but that's okay. I can fish those out once this is done. Oh, I want to show you Little Binks. This is our new baby kitty. She is the sweetest little thing ever. She was snuggling with Emilynn. Emilynn wanted us to show you her. So I just got a big heaping fork full, a little bit more. I tend to be a little over generous with beef bouillon because we like big, bold flavors here. We do not like bland, boring food. So I'm stirring this up the best I can to get it broken up. Those frozen veggies made the liquid a little cold, so this is going to take some time to get back up to pressure. But getting that stirred up, I'm gonna put it back in my Instant Pot over here. I added more salt and pepper. This is a huge pot of soup, so I wound up adding 2 tablespoons of salt. Don't freak out, there was very little in there. So I added 2 tablespoons of salt, and I went ahead and did another teaspoon of this finely ground pepper. And this is going to be perfect seasoning wise, and I did end up adding some Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning. It's one of my favorite seasonings to cook with. I did a tablespoon of that, and I'm going to stir it up, put my liner back into my Instant Pot, and we will get this cooking. This is such a comfort food. It is seriously my favorite soup ever. It's very, very healthy because, I mean, it's literally beef, veggies, and beef broth. I mean, what more could you want? And it's just got all my favorite veggies in there. And so I'm going to put this back into my liner. I know you can't see it very well. I've got to put this in a specific place on my island here because of my power strip. My island actually doesn't have built-in power, unfortunately. So Brackston put a power strip on there for me, which I was so thankful for. So I'm closing this lid, realizing that I didn't plug in the Instant Pot, and plugging it in. And so after that, I'm going to once again go on manual. Oh, I realized I needed to turn the power strip on. So I'm going to go on manual, and I'm going to go down to 20 minutes. I kind of thought about maybe 25, but I ended up doing 20. And I think that this will be perfect. So we will see you soon with the final result. Okay guys, so I've released the pressure on the Instant Pot and now I'm going to work on shredding this beef. I just scooped up as much as I could find at the moment and I'm just doing it in little batches. This beef is pulling apart so much easier than when I tried to do it the first time, which is how I know it is perfectly done. I did end up only doing 15 minutes. I just hit cancel with 5 minutes left to go. I just felt like it was ready. Let all the pressure out. It did take a while because it is a big pot of soup, and I let all that pressure out and I'm just getting this beef shredded up so we can start eating it for lunch, and it is going to be so delicious. I am so excited. Like I said, this is literally one of my favorite soups of all time. I can't even describe how much I love this. I've always loved vegetable beef stew ever since I was a little girl, and I always struggled with finding a good flavorful recipe, and I am so thankful to my friend for sharing this recipe with me. I did adapt it a little bit to my own as far as seasonings and whatnot, but other than that, I stayed pretty true to her recipe. And so yeah, I'm just finishing shredding up this beef, and then I am going to stir it up and be ready to serve it to everybody. I love the deep reddish color that this gets from the broth and all of the just mixture of flavors. It is just so good. I can't even begin to describe this. I am going to link the full recipe in the description below, and I hope that you guys will try this, and please make sure to check out the playlist for all the other people who are joining in on CrockTober / Fall Soup Friday. And please remember, if you are a YouTuber and you want to join in, feel free to make a comment below and let me know, and we will get your video added. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.